there's like 9 other guys on the fucking planet who own modern consoles who play video games who feel the same way. But it's just like I don't, man.
Yeah. Right. Not everybody's gonna like it, as with anything.
People talk about, oh, there's this amazing rhythm. I'm like, maybe I just don't have rhythm. That's not impossible.
Hey,
I, I,
listen, I bet that there's no way that you liked or disliked it any more than that cat in Korea disliked it that is now getting death threats for his 6 out of 10.
oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have given it a 7. Also, I wouldn't have reviewed it. But,
We're live now, by the way.
Oh yeah.
rad.
Yeah, I figured because that's I guess we usually start with game talk, but hey, that's a hot story. Kid in
It's
Korea,
hot today.
yeah, right. Kid in Korea puts out a story or puts out a review, and he's getting death threats because he gave God of War Ragnarok a 6. Come on, people.
Yeah, he doesn't deserve the death threats, obviously. But at the same time, this was on IGN Korea, and it's someone who doesn't work for IGN Korea, is a guest contributor, someone who's also an indie game developer.
Right.
I have not verified any of this. I just read Twitter, which is a source of truth now. I don't know if you've heard. It is 100% accurate all the time.
Twitter.
So
Yeah.
it feels to me like this is I want some clicks. I want my name out there. It's objectively not a 6 out of 10 series.
Never has been.
Have either of you read the review?
I have not, no.
Okay.
Negative. I just heard about this a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
My assumption, if I had to make one, which I don't, but I'm gonna, is that they got a guy who is maybe not a God of War dude, maybe not a cowboy, and said, "Hey, can you review this thing? Are you up for it? Are you down?" And he said, "Of course," because IGN Korea asked him to, and that seems like a silly thing to refuse. And turns out the guy who was never really a fan of God of War still isn't a fan of God of War.
Right.
Also, I didn't think IGN did lower than a 7. I thought 6 was like, I thought they engineered things specifically so that this never occurs.
Yeah, all IGN issued keyboards have the 1 through 6 keys missing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's when you go to the back end and you put in the review, you have 4 choices to pick from. And 6 isn't one of them. Neither is 5 or anything else.
Yeah, you pick 7, 8, 9, or 10, and then it like rolls a d20 or something to decide where in like the 7 to 8 range you're landing. Like, is this a 7, 8, 7, 7? That's too granular. It's too granular. Our scale is the same, and I don't like it.
I don't have thoughts complicated enough for a 100-point score. I'm not a smart man, and
but it just leads to the case where you've got a game that's an 83 and a game that's an 86. Are they is one objectively better than the other? Probably not. But people are, go out there and say, oh, they thought game A was better than game B. No, they're both 8s. They're both great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
This traces back to a point that I like to make semi-regularly, although maybe not officially on the site or on the show. But I, James Paley, am not a games journalist. And the next person who calls me a games journalist, I won't punch in the mouth, but I will have a look on my face that will suggest maybe, what if I could? I'm a critic. At best.
You'd have the same look as you were giving your microphone mere moments ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The fuck around and find out look. Did I throw it gently onto some carpet? It's okay. But I'm a critic, and when I give a thing a score, it's a result of a critical analysis. It's not an objective fact. That's another thing that I will give you the real stink eye for suggesting I have any of the sort about it. It's like, I don't have facts about this game. I can look some up if you want, but I don't know any. And this guy, his critical analysis was that it was a 6 out of 10 game. Possibly no one on Earth agrees with him, but I mean, you know, that was his interpretation.
Yeah, and anybody who goes to a game review looking for something objective, like, you're not looking for a review, you're looking for a book report. You know, a catalog of this is what the game has. And too many reviews, I think, are like that. Like, it has a crafting system where you craft armor. It has a combat system where you do the combat.
So many reviews are just needlessly page after page too long.
Yeah, like, I don't get it. Give me an opinion. Did you like it? What was good about it? How did it affect your life?
Right, how to make you feel.
Yeah.
And then, like, when you read the guy's review, which I haven't done because I learned about this mere months ago, you will find buried in there his reasons for not liking the game. And I bet you that some of them will sound to certain readers like upsides. He'd be like, oh, it was just a whole lot of combat, and people were like, fuck yeah, sign me up. Where do I start? Give me the code, man. I'm ready to do this. Or it'll say something about the graphical style disagreeing with him, or something like that. It's just like, oh, okay, these are things that I love that he did not like, and it's just like, yeah, that's how it works. I don't know, man.
Anyway,
anyway,
Press X to podcast. That's us. Here we are. We're doing it live.
hey!
This is the one that I called this broadcast the one before Ragnarok comes out, because
Well, there's going to be a before and after. No doubt about it.
we haven't had the
it's gonna be good though.
yeah, we haven't had the witty banter and commentary necessary to generate a title just yet, but we will.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of being live.
You figure it out as you go.
And if you're watching this after the fact, you already have a tease of what's to come in the title.
You know when we
Enjoy.
don't know. You've seen the future.
You know more than us right now.
Yeah.
How can that be? It's a glitch in the
Yeah,
matrix.
magic powers.
Hey, can I just say big shout out to Barry Bonds in the chat? I noticed he's back again. He was here last time. Big shout out, Barry Bonds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big
name.
get, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
very
that's
cool.
his name, Barry Bonds.
All right. Sick. So I know what other games have y'all been playing besides Gao 2 Gao?
Well,
Besides
yeah.
Gawoo, what do you
Well,
even
none of
play?
us have played Gao 2, Boy 2 yet, because it comes out tomorrow.
Our own Jazz Sagu has reviewed it though, and I encourage you to go check out the video review and or written review.
Yeah.
He was very fond of it.
He
Yeah.
liked it.
Yeah.
Like all 125 reviews on Metacritic did. They're all positive.
Did they? Is that 6 a positive score?
It's not up here,
Oh, okay.
but that might just be Metacritic.
Yeah.
Anyway, I played quite a bit of A Plague Tale Requiem, which is out places and also on Game Pass, which was nice. And it's okay. I don't think it deserves quite all the praise that it's been getting as this amazing, fantastic narrative. The story's pretty good. It's super depressing at every turn, where things just continue to go down and down and down for the characters involved in the game. And every time there's a flat spot, it's because you know it's about to go down again. So in one sense, that's good. It's a good ride. It looks amazing. Just stunning. A lot of the vistas and character work and textures and all that good stuff is really, really well done. Gameplay, though, it's a bit lacking. It's very stealth forward. Stealth is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to hide in the grass. You're supposed to lure the guards, yada, yada, yada. However, I found that the AI is not necessarily up to the task of dealing with the things that one might do. For one thing, I became very aware that the guards are programmed to come in your direction, whether they know where you are or not.
Oh,
So if
oh no.
yeah, if you're trying to get, there's one part of trying to get into a castle, and there's a bunch of guards all over the place. There's a bunch of rats all over the place, and the rats eat you because they're rats. So you can't go there. And it had this one guard left, and he just would not go away. So I decided to try to go like way, way back in the map, to a place that I'd cleared out previously. And lo and behold, mere moments later, this guy was sniffing around the area where I was. And I tried this a few more times, and it's definitely programmed that way, which would be fine if you couldn't tell, but you can for sure tell.
Yeah.
And the a lot of the areas that you're sneaking around are also susceptible to being sprinted through. You can run, obviously, it's a game, you can run. So if you get up and run around and around enough times, they'll eventually get lost and not know where you are. And you can, as long as you time it up right, you can like stop running at the exit and get out of there without doing any of the stealth. So easily broken on the gameplay side, but nice showpiece. The voice work's not bad. Good little story.
Did you finish it?
I did not finish it.
Okay.
No. I would say I'm a third to a half in. I'll probably go back to it, but for free, it's not bad on Game Pass.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
No.
What about you, James? Did you finally play that Sonic Nightmare?
Played the shit out of it. Yeah.
Watched your review
And?
for it today.
Yeah. It's great. It's a great Sonic game. So here's the deal. The Sonic games and games, I feel, have to be judged in two slightly separate silos of content, because Sonic games, in order to be Sonic games, have to have like really frustrating bullshit put in once in a while. Like you can't have, like, if you go too long without wanting to pitch your controller through your very expensive television screen, they failed in their design of the Sonic game. They fucked up somewhere. They missed an important component. But they put all that in, so it's great on that terms. As far as an actual game, it's, you know, it has some frustrating bullshit in it, but like, story beats are fascinating. They try to like give them characters emotional weight. I don't know if they succeed, but like, I felt affected. I'm kind of a soft touch for that sort of thing if they're really good. If the narrative is setting out to emotionally manipulate you, there's a decent chance I'll be caught up in the web. But like, you know, lots of games can't make that hit that target for me. But these guys, these goofy little fuckers, they managed it. They pulled it off. There's like serious conversations between the characters about like self-worth and stuff like that, and like the horrors of war and shit. And it's just like, okay, guys, cool that we're going to this place with these fuzzy little Sonic characters. Looks really weird seeing them have these conversations. Other people may react to this differently. Very curious to see that reaction. The gameplay rips. It's great. It's good fun. You run around this big lonely world performing all these little individual challenges. It's very fascinating because you'll find these contraptions sort of set up floating in the air, and each one is kind of like a teeny tiny stage challenge. So you tackle it and you get at the end, there's like some power up or some item that you need to acquire, and if you do that, then you've, you know, successfully navigated it. And there's like hundreds of these things all throughout all the islands, and you, on top of that, you get the actual like classic-ish 3D Sonic stages you can go seek out, and those ones you have to do better and better at in order to get the items you need to progress through the story. And so you're encouraged to like run those a few times and like beat all the different goals and stuff like that. And then there's like interesting boss battles you can take on, and like fishing mini game. You know, if you're into that.
The aesthetic of this reminds me of Mario Odyssey,
Mm.
where it's a weird hybrid of things that kind of don't belong together, but sort of work anyway.
Yeah, in action, it feels pretty good. There's this funny little thing you can do mechanically where like you get items that allow you to increase your top speed, which is cool because the world is big, so the faster you can move, the better. However, sometimes you'll be doing those little platforming challenges, and I'll do like a dash boost, and then instead of like turning a corner, Sonic just like flies over the edge and like off a cliff because he's just like just like no ability to stop whatsoever because I've like boosted his top speed too much. You can like get around that, but like if you're not paying attention and you're not being careful, it's just like boom, like, oh, I guess you just gone. Okay, try that again. But there's no lives. You don't run out of lives or anything, so you can just like fuck up as much as you want, and then keep trying challenges until you get it right.
Are non-Sonic
again-
people gonna like this thing?
God, I have no idea. They're the weirdest fan base. I truly have no idea how the fans are going to react to this. Just like not a fucking clue. I thought it was great fun because I love this kind of like always something else to do, not too clogged, kind of like they say they're like, oh, this isn't like Breath of the Wild at all. Okay, guys, sure it isn't. We believe you. But when you're playing it, you're gonna think, geez, this feels a lot like Breath of the Wild for some reason. I can't put my finger on. But like yeah, I'm sorry, I got lost in the sauce for a second. What was I saying?
No, you were talking about how it's like Breath of the Wild and how this is definitely, the pitch was definitely Breath of the Wild, but fast. Real
Yeah,
fast. See,
and I think people, okay, he'll be back. And I think people will really get down with this because it's that kind of open world game where you're like, oh, I just want to do one more thing. I just want to do this. And the level design sort of like leads you naturally from one task to the next. You're not just like, oh, here's 1,000 icons. You have to go hit them all. It's like, no. There's a world. You explore it. You figure it out. You move at your own pace. Sometimes that pace is like 130 miles an hour. It's fine. So I had a lot of fun. I don't know how people are going to react to this game. I honestly don't. I think it'll be very divisive among Sonic fans because literally every game that they release is very divisive among Sonic fans. But I think a portion of them will love it.
At any point, do you get to wield a giant gun? Like Shadow the Hedgehog?
Yes and no.
Ooh, okay.
There is definitely a puzzle where you have to grab a single cannon shell that's the size of a sedan and kind of gently haul it over to this cannon, and then you fire it at something. That's kind of as close to gun as you really get.
Okay.
Which is unfortunate.
Hey man, that's how she goes.
But I will say there's a couple of sections. It's like 4 or 5 different points throughout the game where I was like, just really like, really, guys? Really? Do we really have to do this? Do we really have to go to this place? Do we have to do this thing? Where I was just like so intensely frustrated. The first story puzzle right before a big story boss that you have to do, because there's a bunch, was like a puzzle where you have to like move, get all these lights or whatever to move in concert to like create this path. And I had to drag my wife in. I was like, okay, I'm stuck on this thing. I need you to help me. I'm completely flummoxed. I'm doing it for like an hour. So the two of us sit there and we're like, okay, can you think we got it? No, we got it. No, we tried like 30 times and it just like clicks into place. We're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, we did it. And it was just like, I feel like it's gonna, maybe it's just the way my brain is wired where like that sort of puzzle just like doesn't click with me. But like, I feel like a bunch of people are gonna be like real mad about that section. And it's not that far in.
For a second there, I thought you were talking about like Sonic dragging his wife somewhere, and I was like,
No.
"Whoa, this game goes places." That's a
I don't
little
think
bit
he's
too
married.
close to the fan fiction.
Yeah.
TBH.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, it's a great Sonic game, and it's a good game, but downgrade. Um, so yeah, people are gonna want to check that shit out when it drops tomorrow.
did you play anything else, James?
I sure did. I sure fucking did. There was Risk of Rain 2, because I keep seeing streamers and online people talk about how much it rules.
Is
Yeah,
it
Risk of Rain.
And
is it out of early access yet? Like, is it a 1.0 yet?
oh yeah, like a while ago. I bought it on Xbox. It was on sale or something for like $7, and it rules because they were comparing it to Vampire Survivor, where it's a roguelike, where like you get a huge crazy complement of powers, and eventually you're like this impossible killing machine, but the game is like very much keeping up with you and making it so you don't feel too tough but pretty tough. And it feels real good to just run that loop and figure that shit out.
Yeah.
Nice.
And like, yeah, it took like a couple hours before I like kind of had it. Mostly I just turned it down to like easy mode because I'm a scrub, and like hard mode was like impossible to finish the first stage for me. It was just like I can't. I'm sorry guys, I can't. I gotta relent. And then I turned to easy mode and I made it like 6 or 7 stages in. So I felt better. Still very hard, but like less so. So that's cool. And the conceit of the game is that for every minute you play, it gets slightly harder. So it starts out at easy mode, and there's a little difficulty bar that ticks up and up and up as you go, so that by the time you get to the stage with the final boss or whatever, it's like gone past impossible to I see you. And there's just like crazy flying death machines like coming in from out of nowhere to be like, all right, time to hunt him down.
This game is a great example of what I think is wrong with early access. This is a game I have been interested in for a long time and have wanted to play for a long time, but also wanted to wait until it was done. And it's been, years that they've been working on this thing and dripping it out, and, email after email of here's the next version. And it got to the point where I just missed it.
Yeah.
So I don't. I get that it's good to bring in some revenue while you're working on the thing, yeah, but I don't know. I think you probably miss quite a few people with that strategy.
It depends on how finished it is when it's in early access. Like like Vampire Survivors, for example. That game was barely done at all, and I loved it. I put hours and hours into it, and now every time they come back with new shit, I'm like, maybe I play for another couple hours. Maybe I keep coming back. I don't know. Plus, it was like $3, and like, what do we care, But yeah, if they're doing early access and it's like this game and the game that's going to be 1.0 are like two completely different titles, it's a tougher sell. You're whittling your fan base down to its essential core. You get all the graph, all the chaff is getting shorn off in the process, and like that's a risky venture for a developing team, right?
That's true. It's a good point. Now, Rhett, I know you've been playing God of War 1
Yeah.
/
Yeah.
2018 on stream.
Oh yeah, we finished the playthrough today, so I highly recommend anybody, if you want to squeeze it in before Ragnarok comes out, you still got time. Yeah, that's a good game. Looking forward to Ragnarok. Other than that, though, I was saying I was playing Cult of the Lamb on the Switch.
Nice.
Yeah.
Game's sweet. It's so good. It's like a roguelite slash Town management kind of game. Like if you liked Animal Crossing, I think that you would, enjoy this. Although it's a lot more hands-on. But what I really find interesting about it myself is that there's all these interesting like uh perks or like deviations that you can take with your cults. So for example, like you'll be given a choice of you can sacrifice a member and get bonus A, or you can choose to feed that member and get bonus B. And like there's all these different decisions you've got to make that they keep coming up at basically every turn for your that really allow you to shape your cult exactly how you want to. It's cool. You could name all your little cultists and you can put them out on certain jobs and you can have them all working for you. And yeah, it's cool. If you like any sort of like management type game, and if you liked Animal Crossing again, because I know that was really hot during the pandemic. Um, Man, Cult of the Lamb's pretty sweet. It has some issues. I'm playing it on Switch, and it has some issues running. There's some frame rate issues here and there, but it's cool. Yeah, cool art style, fun to look at. It's funny enough. The writing keeps you entertained enough.
It's one of those ones that I've wanted to play, just haven't.
Yeah, I recommend it. It's on everything, right? You can
Yeah.
play it on PlayStation, play it on Xbox, PC.
Play it everywhere.
Yeah.
Except
Google Stadia.
Oh. She gone.
Yeah.
She gone.
James, I see that you also played a lot of Game Pass nonsense. Tell me more.
Well, basically anytime I don't have other shit on the go, I go back to Stardew Valley.
Fair.
Because it turns out there's a lot of wacky endgame shit you can do after you pimp out the community center. A lot. And it's really cool for a while. I am starting to run into the point where it's just like a savage, merciless grind combined with like not knowing exactly what to do next or how to get there, where you have to have like the Stardew Valley wiki open at all times and a second screen if you want to make any further progress. But I've gotten to the point where I have like obelisk teleportation systems that can get me to the island and to the desert instantaneously, and then I can just like hop back and forth with no troubles, which cost a lot of time and effort, but that's a cool thing. And you can like there's like some sort of weird end game shit you can do in the island that I haven't quite licked. I haven't quite got the hang of, so I could do that. But it's something I go back to whenever I'm like between projects or like can't think of anything else to play. I put a prohibitive amount of hours into Stardew Valley on Game Pass, and I thought for a nice little break from all that farming and shit and building, I would play Dragon Quest Builders 2, which is the same thing, but Dragon Quest. Only, people like poop and get hungry and stuff, so you have to like manage all that business. And it's got that Dragon Quest flair, which I love. I'm a huge fan of the series, so I'm totally down with that. And it's just another one of these epic adventures where you harvest endless resources and turn it into low-income housing with like pot toilets and like boiled cabbage for dinner. I don't treat these people well so far. It's what I'm learning. It's just like you're gonna have cabbage and bread and you're gonna like it, or you're gonna die, I guess. Because monsters invade like every 4 minutes. I could just not. I could just let them ravage you if you want to fuck around and be ungrateful. Or you could say thanks for the cabbage and bread, master, and then go about your day. I don't know. But it's cool. It's cool. It's another cool experience like that. I just downloaded Arkham Knight because I'm going to try to play that again. I was just not in the right headspace when I tried the last time, so I'm going to get through that finally. And that's kind of all I got, man. Kind of all I got. Just a lot of that biz. I'm I play a lot. I play a lot of Game Pass because I'm paying for it. So I'm like, hey, you should find something else on the service that you haven't tried before. I'm just like, you should try something else new. You should get out of your comfort zone a little bit because I'm still in that honeymoon phase of being in the first year, right, of owning it, where I'm like, oh, I should make use of this service. I bought an Xbox basically for this reason. So fucking let's go.
And how many of those games do you scroll through and download and then end up deleting later because and have never touched?
I think about 40%
Yeah.
of the ones that I download go untouched. Everything I'll try to like put at least like an hour into just to see what it's all about. If it sucks, you delete it, whatever. Or if I'm like not in the right headspace for it. If they're like, cool, there's a lot of fun action, but you have to sit through a lot of story. I'm like, oh, buddy, there is too much competition in this platform for that. You got to let me get right into it, or else you are gone. It's like unskippable dialogue. Yeah, there's one way.
Yeah, unskippable. In this day and age, come on.
In this year of 20,000 and 2022,
Inexcusable.
hogwash, I say.
With the TikTok generation, like, no, it just ain't happening.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I am curious to see if that's eventually gonna affect how games are made and constructed to, especially on the Xbox side, to fit in that Game Pass model and very specifically hook people in the first few minutes because they know they can go back and delete it right now and play something else if it doesn't hook them.
Yeah. So like,
and if
it's got to. Yeah.
Does that mean the ultimate death of the unskippable cutscene and the long dramatic introduction, which has a history.
Listen.
It has a history, and it can be very good if people do it right.
Yeah. If it's like, oh, we're gonna be blowing shit up, or like crazy vistas or awesome shit like that, great. Entertain me for a few minutes and then give me some backstory. But if it's just like, here's a lot of somber text on a scroll background, or it's like vellum or parchment paper, or just breaking down the world, I'm like,
yeah, it's got to do something with that time.
Yeah, I have got to up my meds if you want me invested in this for the next 15 minutes.
I just thought of something else that I played a bit of. And I forgot about it because it's pretty forgettable. Genshin Impact.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Been playing it on your cell phone?
No, I downloaded it on the PS5.
Nice.
It looks great.
Does it run well?
Yeah. Runs beautifully.
The original release ran pretty well.
Yeah, it's boring.
Yeah.
It is really, really repetitive.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it for about 30 minutes, and then, like you said, it's very, very repetitive.
Yep.
And progress, it felt like progress came to a halt real fast. They were all too happy to take any sort of progression away from you, or any sort of like meaningful progression. All of a sudden it was like, every sort of objective, every sort of goal seemed so far out of reach.
Yeah, could we offer you some gacha mechanics?
Yeah, exactly.
The answer is yes, they could. Yes, they could, and they did, and they will. Yeah. I lasted about 20 minutes, and that was.
Yeah. What's the player base still like on that? I'm sure.
Pretty aggressive.
Still, yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah, they're always.
Well, good for them. Is that another 10 cent?
Oh, it's got to be.
MiHoYo.
MiHoYo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that owned by Tencent?
Maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But they've got a rich history of like hooky, flashy phone games, and then Genshin Impact was just like the latest and greatest. But they long perfected the formula by that point. They're just like, we know exactly how many gacha elements to implement and when, and how to like keep people hooked, and how to get enough whales in there, and like they made sure that the characters are like pedaling or like cute and cool with interesting personalities or like all that shit where it's just like, oh, this person's amazing. I really want them in my squad. Well, ha ha ha. Get ready to roll, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they know what they're doing. They got this shit on lock.
It sounds like MiHoYo turned down Tencent a bunch of times.
Mm.
I feel like it would be big news if that was an acquisition that happened. But
Yeah. Because I think they're doing fine in terms of.
Oh, I
that.
think Tencent killed MiHoYo's father, so there was just no way that they're gonna, you know.
Right. Of course. How could I forget that?
this is going to be the
Tiny
like,
biographical detail.
wait 100 years. This is going to be the basis for the next, Romance of the Three Kingdoms style
Oh yeah,
game.
yeah, 100%.
Underrated games, by the way. I like those games. The old
Yeah.
ones, anyway. All right. Anything else? Any other games?
Oh man. A lot of Sonic. A lot of Sonic.
A lot of going fast. Let's talk about news. Because there's news. We already talked about the guy who gave Ragnarok a 6. And the internet was the internet about that, of course.
Yeah.
As you must be on the internet. You fill your daily quota of bad behavior if you run in certain circles, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, what else we got? I don't know about this story, but James, there are no black people in FF16 for realism reasons. LOL.
Basically, the guy, the director or whatever, the top dude making FF16 was he had an interview recently in Famitsu or one of those magazines where he was like, well, we're doing a sort of medieval isolated setting, and so we it wouldn't make sense for there to be that kind of diversity, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. Truthfully, I don't give a shit what your reasons are. It's fucking embarrassing. There's no medieval accuracy because you are dealing with giant magical beings who shape the face of warfare like nuclear weapons. You've got living gods walking around and Moogles. Don't fucking tell me there won't be Moogles, you dirty goddamn liars, because there will be. This is a Final Fantasy game. And the giant birds you ride around on. So like, no, we passed the realism truck stop miles and miles ago. It's just like nobody but the most racist ass chuds give a shit about like, oh, it's only white people. Also, guess what, fuckos? There weren't just white people in medieval Europe. I don't know how else to break it to you, but they were out there.
Yeah.
You don't think there were anything but white people because you were watching movies and shows and reading stories that all featured white people because that same honky ass racism.
Yeah.
But fucking, they were out there, man.
Sounds like the same group of what'd you call them there, James? Chuds. It sounds like the same group of chuds that did this to that Lord of the Rings show. Same deal, but it was kind of reverse, where they were like, "Why are there black people in this? It's not like what?"
Yeah.
Yeah. If I don't know, if you find yourself in a place in your life where you really care that much, maybe I don't know. Find something else to care about. There's plenty of
turn off the TV.
There's plenty of things to care about that are more important to the world. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe this director guy should have just owned it and been like, "Yep, 6 years ago when we drew this thing up, didn't think of it."
Yeah.
That's better. That's a better answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, be real, man. It's like, listen, no, we weren't having this kind of diversity conversation when we did the design documents, and we are way past that point now. So I don't know, man. It's white o'clock over here.
Yeah, it's too late. Yeah.
Yep, you got us. 17. They'll be better.
Yeah.
In
We'll come to scrap
2056.
for that one. Yeah. And truth be told, there is, strictly speaking, some more ethnic diversity in previous Final Fantasy games, like 15. There's slightly more diversity in skin tone, and like 14, there's definitely more diversity in skin tone. Even I think like 13, there's more diversity in skin tone. It's just like it's like for real. Like they would just they locked in. They're like, listen, 16, we're doing a whites only fucking medieval fantasy, and like nobody in the room thought, huh, that sounds weird when you say it out loud.
Yeah.
Weird.
Well.
That just doesn't roll off the tongue the way I wanted it to.
Yeah,
Nobody did that.
You know, at the same time, I don't think that everything out there has to have this, you know, perfectly balanced, you know, almost mechanically designed. This is the groups that we must have in these places, in these numbers, but
because it always comes off as forced. It always comes across when they do that. It's just it's so.
But to go all the way in this direction of like, yeah, there's literally one type.
Oh yeah,
person.
no, there's definitely a happy middle ground.
Yeah.
It's just like it's demographics and marketing. Because like what as the years roll by, you figure out that like, oh shit, a whole bunch of the people who buy and play these games are not white people. They're not pale in any meaningful way. And it's just like it seems like the market would naturally move towards servicing your audience. And that's part of the reasons why you see more of that. Like when you see a massive corporation be like, oh no, we're on a diversity initiative, what they're saying is we found out that a statistically significant portion of our demographic reflects this change, and so we have to move with it or else we're going to be eating the fucking dust of the competition.
Or we're leaving money on the table.
Exactly. They don't want to leave money on the table.
Yeah.
And so like, and like, there's like huge portions of like the world that the whole global south that like really fuck with Japanese RPGs and Japanese culture in general. And it's again, you're leaving money on the table, and it's weird for you to make that move because these people play your games, they want to see themselves in them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The more I think about this, the stranger it seems, because it's not like Square Enix as a whole is, you know, Whitey Town.
No.
You know,
No.
like
No.
what's that game?
But see, that's the thing. I always assume that the characters that like look white in those games are actually Asian. They like aren't they more Japanese or right? Yeah.
That's what makes this all the weirder.
Yeah.
Because they definitely they were very specific. They're like, oh no, it's a white medieval.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's
it was just like
okay.
All right, bro.
Yeah, they're very specific about that one.
Yeah, like
no, it's whites, and it's whites only. Okay.
Yeah, maybe I'm misremembering because they had this explanation where it's like, oh, it's a very small, isolated, and it's not a geographically diverse region that the story is taking place in. I'm like,
yeah,
that's cool. So what you're saying is that it's actually an incredibly racist segment of the world that you're choosing to zero in on. Like, it's going to be a lot of like horrifying xenophobia and like prejudice.
Yeah.
Gonna be some like really problematic language when they casually talk about other countries.
It'd be interesting to see the sales figures on this one.
Yeah, I mean, they'll be fine because Final Fantasy can't not make sales, but like it's. So
but I guess I'm more curious if it's going to do better than Final Fantasy typically does.
Mm-mm.
No.
I think Final Fantasy's big numbers have been in 14 because it's an MMO and people fuck with that, and
they apparently made it amazing.
Yeah, it's 1,000 times better than it used to be.
Yeah.
And I think mainline Final Fantasy games have been kind of struggling to find their footing, but it's like a big historic franchise, and so they're not gonna take it out behind the shed or anything. But they've been struggling to figure out what to do with it. That's why they put so much effort into the 7 remake because it's a guaranteed splash, you know, because like everybody fucking loves 7 and they want to like reinvigorate the brand. So like, you know, getting everybody on the train with beloved classics. But like, yeah, Final Fantasy's always kind of struggled to find their footing, and it's just sort of like when they succeed, it's like, oh shit, really? Oh, cool.
Yeah, I mean, they really haven't had like a slam dunk hit on their hands since 10. Maybe
That was like
14's
the
getting
first-
there, but like,
Yeah. Oh, 14 is pretty serious business in the MMO world. Like that's
but
that's a
it
big-
got there. It didn't like launch, and it wasn't a sensation
Yeah.
like Final Fantasy 10 was.
well,
or
yeah, because
Final
that was like the
Fantasy
PS2
7
one.
was.
That's the PS2 Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the Final Fantasy 7 was the PS1 Final Fantasy.
14 launched and people were like, "Shut this down! It's horrible." And
Yeah.
then
And
yeah,
they
right.
did.
And then
So they
right, and then they came
literally
back.
in game nuked the world, made it
Yeah.
a part of the lore, and the new version was called a Realm Reborn.
Yeah, like that's pretty sweet actually.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
really owned it.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well-
it was too much like 11, and it was just like, no, guys, none of this flies anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully this game will be of such incredible quality, you know, the likes of which we have not seen in a Final Fantasy game forever, enough to, I don't know. I hope the game's good. Because I want to
Maybe
see
they'll-
more Final Fantasy games. I want to see them
Yeah.
recover from this and do better.
You know, I think it's
You
pretty
know?
safe to say that they'll once they're done with 7, they'll go and remake 3? Is that the next one that people love the most? I think 8?
US,
Do people
US 3 slash actual 6.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is it 8 or 6 that people?
6.
Yeah, 6 people really like. So I mean, I can't imagine they won't do that once they're done 7.
And hey,
Yeah, that one has a pretty white cast, except for a
Yeah,
Moogle
maybe-
and a Yeti, who are also white.
maybe after this interview went live, they'll patch in some brown people. You know
Yeah.
what?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it could.
We'll move some
It'd
sliders
be
around.
such a-
it's
it-
fine.
yeah, exactly. It would be such an easy fix. Couple sliders to the left, one to the right.
A little like in-game flavor text about these people from a different region because this place isn't like a fucking slice of bleached flour white bread, you know, like fuck.
Yeah.
Do something about it, Jesus.
As you know, you're eventually going to get your hands on some kind of method of travel that would let you go long distances. You could go
Yeah.
to other parts of the world, and probably
Yeah.
some people have.
Where brown people exist, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, yeah, I don't know. It wouldn't be a week in gaming news without someone putting their foot in their mouth.
Mhm.
it's pretty important to keep the cycle going.
Yeah. What else though? PSVR 2 got a release date.
Ooh, yeah. And it got
Yeah.
a price tag. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, 550 American. Good luck, fuckers.
750. Yeah, so I'm gonna pick one up when it launches.
It's a spicy price, but it's like a
I figured
third
it
of
would
what
be.
a Valve Index costs.
Right? And it's fucking beefy. And the
Yeah.
controllers look like they figured that out. They look similar to the Quests, which I've
Mhm.
got here, and like the Quests are great. I think that they're
Mhm.
really nice.
I will pick one up when there's good games for it, not before.
It is true. There's nothing that they've announced that has me except that Firewall sequel. Firewall's pretty cool, but other than that,
The Horizon game looks like it could be good.
mm,
It's definitely a VR roller coaster ride.
yeah.
Where
Yeah,
you-
which inevitably the majority of the launch software will be
Mhm.
roller coasters and like arcade shooters, arena shooters, with things popping up at you like
Mhm.
dead. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fine. Bust out some showpieces. Let everybody know how much better this is than the fucking 720p PSVR. And, wow everybody a little bit. I'll be honest, I never really owned a PSVR, but my buddy did. And I do have fond memories of like sitting down in that crazy space and like enveloping myself in that fucking wacky helmet and just like going off into magical worlds for a few hours. That's pretty cool shit. And they maybe it'll be better. Maybe VR needs to get 20 times better before we adopt it as a species. And this is just tech bros trying to.
I think the thing is, like, we're not there for it to replace our human vision and give us a world in front of us that's 100% believable. So the best stuff on PSVR were pretty much traditional games. They just happened to be way more immersive because they were in VR. Like, I think Astrobot Rescue Mission is the best PSVR game.
So good.
And not because it does anything special, but because it uses the VR to its advantage to give you something that you already know. And if they can do that with other styles of games and other franchises that are important to people and that they care about, they will have smash hits on their hands. Yeah. So long as they can make enough to get them into people's hands and the price comes down. Eventually.
Price got to come down. I think the biggest thing as well is just the headset itself. Like, it's not going to catch on like they want it to until they make a headset. It's got to be as easy to put on as a pair of glasses. You know, these big bulky things that you adjust front and back and side to side, and you've got to get your cornea exactly right. You're calculating, what is it, like the IPD distance or something like that, and it's like, yeah, all of that sort of stuff. It's a huge barrier for the casual market.
Okay, this is kind of a tangent, a little offshoot. Have you guys, either one of you, heard the theory about why Zuckerberg and these other billionaires, these tech bros, are pushing for VR so hard?
No, but I want to hear it.
The theory I've heard is the reason that Zuckerberg has dumped $15 billion into the metaverse in the last year is because he's trying to lay the tentative groundwork for a sort of digital afterlife. Or he wants to, like, solve the secret of fucking computer immortality so he can just, like, upload his ass and then just be there forever. And they need total market penetration and, like, everybody is be in on this fucking grift so that enough lower level people kind of power the fucking the power and work in the world, so to speak. It's a sort of concerted effort between that on the one end and stuff like NFTs, like commoditized non-fungible token type activities on the other, coming together to create artificial digital scarcity so that this, like, paradise that they create inside the machines still maintains that hierarchy that lets the billionaires be above everybody else, right? It's just a theory. It's just there for,
it's
one
not
or two
impossible.
People. Yeah. There's a lot of technological hurdles, right, that are in the way. Like, none of what I've just described is even remotely possible right now, but, like, you can tell, right, that, like, for some reason he really, really wants this to be a thing. And that's one of the theories why, is because he wants a world that he can go to.
Here's another theory that plays off of that. What if he's actually a computer from the future that has already downloaded itself into Zuckerberg's body, and now it's trying to get back?
Yep.
Did you see what they did for a metaverse demo where some tech uploaded and they scanned Zuckerberg's face and they created a working 3D model that was more expressive than actual Mark Zuckerberg?
That's not very difficult.
Like, it moved its face and it had emotions, and you watch it and you're like, I've never seen him do any of that.
Where did I forget what he was on. He was on something, and I saw a clip where whoever he was talking to was like, hey, can you drink some water? Do you know how to drink water? And, like, made him drink from a glass.
Yeah.
And he looked like a robot still.
Yeah, he's not. He's a fairly decent imitation of a human being, but it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Who's Zuck Daddy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Listen.
yeah, he does look like a fucking. I shouldn't say that. He's probably listening.
They're
Hey,
all.
this isn't
got-
Musk, man. He
Hey,
doesn't care
got-
about us.
He's got ear. Well, okay, yeah, fair enough. He's got ears everywhere, though.
Yeah, if he had ears everywhere, then Myanmar wouldn't have happened in 2018. That's all I'm saying.
Yikes.
If somebody was actually listening, that probably wouldn't have gone down the way it did.
Yeah, yeah, Zuck.
Yeah. Well, how did we get on Zuckerberg? Anyway,
Me, that's my fault.
yeah, cool tangent. But let's talk about the most important thing on Earth, and that's Henry Cavill,
Oh yeah.
the man, the myth, the legend.
He just somehow keeps coming up on this podcast. I mean, how broken is your heart?
About The Witcher.
I think
I
really
think they
just
should
about how disappointed he is with the show.
Yeah.
You know, like you knew that it was only a matter of time. As soon as that story came out about how the writers actively disliked the source material, you knew it was only a matter of time. You knew that this was a labor of love for Cavill in the first place.
Yeah. Season 4 will be the last season.
He's up. Oh yeah,
For
man.
sure.
I saw a poll on YouTube. People asked if they're gonna watch the show with Liam Hemsworth. It was like 90% no. Brutal.
Well, Cavill's a Witcher nerd. Probably the
Yeah.
biggest Witcher nerd I've ever read about.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Is
Like-
as soon as it came out that all of that lore that he's a nerd about, the writers of the show that he's the star of don't like it, maybe even hate it. Like as if it wasn't a matter of days before it was going to be announced that he's out. And sure enough.
Well, it really didn't take very long for the show to start straying away from that source material.
Yeah. Right. It was after
know?
the first, and but the weird thing was like the first season, people were like, okay, this really feels like a prologue, you know? This feels like season 0.5 and season 2 is actually going to be like the start of the show. Little did they know.
It was the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
what this does mean is we get to see the man in the Superman costume again.
Straight up. Big announcement to follow. You know, yeah, he disappointed a lot of people, I'm sure. I mean, The Witcher, does that do numbers? Like, how many people were watching it? Yeah.
It's out
So,
there.
okay.
It-
So I'm sure he disappointed enough people, but
It's nothing
Made-
compared to Superman.
no, he made a lot of people happy with the announcement that he'll be donning the cape once again. There's no date on this movie, is there? Yeah, probably 20.
Basically, he just shows up in a post-credit scene in
Black Adam.
Black Adam.
Yeah.
People were real whingy about that because the colors look too bright, and they're like, "You're disrespecting Snyder's vision." It's like, no, I just didn't color correct it like Snyder does. That's what the suit looks like, basically.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I've seen production shots.
Oh,
right?
dude, Man of Steel has a steel filter over the entire film.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it makes the suit look like that.
Yeah, but like when you take that away, that's what the suit actually looks like.
Right? Yeah.
And it was just like it's like one line. He shows up, he says one line. It's like, oh, okay. Also, have y'all seen Black Adam?
No, but I've
Not
heard
yet.
nothing but great things.
It's fun as fuck, yo. It is
Yeah.
so good.
I mean, it's Dwayne, you know? It's always gonna
Yeah.
be Dwayne. Like, I don't think he's made a bad movie in a decade.
Well, he hasn't made a bad
Dude.
movie, but he hasn't made like a great movie
Fair,
in a long
fair.
time either.
Fair,
So
yeah.
if this is
He
if this is
was-
back to
man,
form,
That's a great point because my favorite of his is Walking Tall, and that was like 2004.
good film.
Oh.
He made Rampage. I'm sorry, y'all. He made Rampage.
Okay,
He's never
yeah,
been.
you're right.
He made this. He made Skyscraper. Okay.
Oh
He's
no,
the
I
one
like
who's like
Skyscraper. That's
very big building. Like okay.
It just happens to be there. Yeah. Yeah, I got to go see that one.
Oh, it's great. It's dumb as shit. It's so fun. It's just like people were like the critics were like really didn't like it, and I don't really get why. It's like I don't know what you were expecting. The
Mhm.
big dumb loud superhero movie, which it is,
Right.
with
Yeah.
like 200% more murder.
Is it theater worthy?
I mean, I'm not really the person to ask. I try to see superhero movies in theaters because I think that's the vista they're meant for.
Get a fucking torrent. The Rock has enough money. He's got his energy drink. He's got billions. Get a fucking torrent. Stick it to the man. I don't actually endorse that. FBI, if you're listening, I don't endorse that.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's just superhero movies prefer the big screen in my experience.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah.
And
Yeah, I just think there's some of them that you can get away with the small screen. And it's
With
okay.
torrenting, yeah. Man, when I like to stick it to the Rock, I like to watch off-screen theater footage, a dude's iPhone.
Handycam, yes. Not
You
iPhone.
hear
That's
him-
the
you hear
quality is
him
too
ch-
high.
That's true. You hear him chewing his popcorn. Yeah, that's what I like to watch. My movie's on.
yeah, on the cam
The
version.
cam.
That was such a thing for a stretch there.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Every time on Pirate Bay, it was like, yeah, you could watch the hottest superhero flick or whatever the day it comes out, but you're gonna have to deal with people walking across the screen as they go to take a piss.
That's a real experience, man.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
true
it's-
experience.
It's like you're in the theater right there. It's like you're right
I know,
there.
right? Yeah, like I dig it. I dig
Just
it.
pour some soda on your floor and get your feet nice and sticky.
Oh yeah, real sticky. Yep.
Yeah. Well, R.I.P. the Witcher, and
Yeah, seriously. I mean,
very very curious what kind of Superman flicks we have in store.
hey, maybe CD Projekt can call Cavill and get him in for Witcher 4.
Ooh,
His schedule just opened up.
No, his next project is definitely gonna be something Warhammer. Dude
yeah.
is straight up obsessed with Warhammer. It is
Yeah.
fun to watch.
Yeah, he's a pretty funny dude. I watched a video of him building a PC. It was a pretty good time. He seems like a guy that would just be a good time to have a beer with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, never forget that in that one Mission Impossible movie, he reloaded his arms.
Yeah,
I
just watch that.
watched that
Yeah, you too.
recently. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
That's
dude,
it's
so
an
good. But
awesome
like,
movie.
come on. I was saying, you're gonna tell me, was there anybody in the theater that was fooled by his heel turn with that mustache?
No.
It's not right. There was nobody that was fooled with that. He comes in here with a flavor saver directly out of a 1970s porn film, and you're telling me that there was one person in the theater that was fooled by his bad guy turn? That's
No.
bullshit. But then I'm also like, I don't think that was the point, you know? I think
Mhm.
yeah, I think he was supposed to be seen from a mile away.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm jazzed as fuck for the next Mission Impossible
Dude,
movie.
it's gonna be so good. Dude, they just keep getting better.
Oh yeah.
Seeing the ads and it's just like, oh baby,
Yeah.
coming up.
Tommy's on he's on a hot streak here.
Oh man.
He can do
Well,
no
it's-
wrong.
I think it's because his body's starting to fail him, right? Because he's like into his 60th year, and so he's like, okay, I gotta do all the cool shit I can before it like seizes up like a fucking engine without enough like oil in it or whatever. And it's just like, yeah, because I don't know, it just feels like when he loses it, he's gonna like lose it like all at once, and it's gonna be like, Tom Cruise has retired from movie making as of 20 minutes ago after a stunt went horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Until then, we'll just enjoy the fruits of his labor.
Yeah,
Absolute wild
Listen.
man that he is.
yeah, he's out here doing it, so there you go. Just buy the ticket, take the ride, and then eventually the fucking gas runs out. I don't know, man.
It's true. Oh boy. Anything else you guys want to talk about, or should we get the heck out of here? I got to get Ragnarok downloading because
It's 98 gigabytes.
I've neglected to do that, and I've got 25 hours to do it.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait.
I look forward to the deep dive discussion from the two of you about God of War Ragnarok when next we meet.
Mhm. I should say that if there's any interest, I will be live tomorrow at 9 p.m. for the release of the game. We'll be streaming a full playthrough of it. And I think we'll go on that Gimme God of War difficulty just to try to pull some views, because that's what I've noticed, is that people don't want to watch any sort of easy, medium, even hard is kind of iffy. People want to see the hardest difficulty. So I guess I'm going to put myself through that right off the bat. If you want to see it, come check it out tomorrow, 9 p.m. West Pacific. That's what I'm looking for.
9 p.m.
Yeah,
West.
Watch Rhett get his ass handed to him in the latest Gotti Wadi Boogaloo.
I mean, I beat the original 3 on God mode, but the 2018 one I only did on hard. So I don't know. It'll be interesting.
It's pretty punishing,
right? I've heard that people have said that the 2018 one might be the toughest of them all on the hardest difficulty. So we'll see.
Did the ending of 2018 hit as hard the second time? With spoiler, the Thor thing.
Oh yeah, no, Thor is fucking dope, and like just the idea of him, the idea and the fact that he's sort of hovering above the story at all times. That is cool, right from the very get-go of the 2018 God of War, and like that never really leaves. And then when he shows up at the end, it does still hit.
Yeah,
it hits well. It hits very well. He's got his gut out, and he pulls the coat back, and the fucking Mjolnir is, oh man, that's good shit. That's good storytelling. I was saying today as I was watching it, I wonder if Ragnarok is gonna start from there. You know, I mean, I don't know.
So that
Atreus seems older in the trailers for the new one.
Definitely, because it's going to be at least a few years in the future. It was foretold this. What was it? The Blunder Winter or something like that. They had some Greek name for it. This winter is coming essentially, and it's going to be 3 years of winter, of a harsh winter, and then Ragnarok happens. So yeah, I think we're going to be at least a few years in the future. Atreus, probably what, 15, 16 maybe?
Yeah.
And man, he was talking so much shit. He was talking back to Kratos so much throughout the first one, especially after he found out he was a god.
Oh, that little shit.
Man, every time Kratos said something to him, Atreus had to just come back with some shithead little comment that made me want to fucking hold his head under the water. But rest assured, Ragnarok, man, it's gonna get bad. I think that Atreus might be the one that deals the finishing blow to Kratos.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there will be some dark moments.
There's gonna be some very dark moments. I mean, if you've played the first one, again, spoilers. This happens right at the end. But if you've played the first one, it very much alludes to Atreus holding Kratos's lifeless, limp body in his arms. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Like you said, 25 hours away. I'm pumped.
24 hours and 58 minutes.
Yep.
And yeah, watch it live with Rhett. He's it's gonna take him forever because it's gonna be fucking hard. But
come on down. At least I played. I think that it's gonna help a lot that I've played the original right before going into this one. I think I'll get into it pretty quick.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everybody for watching or listening, whatever you're doing. And I don't know. We'll see you around. We'll see you back here one of these days. We'll nail down a real schedule one of these days.
Oh yeah, you know it.
And we hope you'll join us for that. So until then, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we will see you next time.